Hello, everybody, and welcome to Car Design Dialogues. My name is Michael Nash. I'm the Deputy Editor at Car Design News, and I'm delighted to bring this event to you live, being broadcast all over the world. So Car Design Dialogues is our new event for the design community, and we're trying to help experts all over the world come together and discuss the leading edge of car design. So one of the things that we have here on this new platform, we have the ability for you guys to all network. So you can hit on the left-hand side of your screen the networking button, meet some of your friends all across the industry, other experts, and have a chat. And you can also enter the expo booths, take a look at some of the deep dives and interesting presentations from some of our sponsors and some great companies there. So this session is all about Hummer, and particularly we're going to look at the Hummer EV, which was unveiled a couple of months ago. And it was a massive event on my calendar, particularly. It's such a huge thing for GMC to be unveiling this Hummer. They're describing it as the first of its kind super truck developed to forge new paths with zero emissions. I'm not going to talk too much more about it. We're going to go straight into a deep dive. So I'll now hand it over to the Hummer design team from GM Tech Center in Warren, Michigan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Zach. I'm the Executive Design Director for the Hummer EV. And with me today is the rest of the Hummer team, but specifically Rich Shear, who was the Design Director for both the interior and the exterior, and Jeff Neal, who was our Strategic Design Manager on the vehicle as we started it. What I really wanted to do today is to give you a little bit behind the scenes input and insight into how we developed the vehicle. The original design brief, if you will, for us was we have our Ultium battery technology and the architecture that goes with that. So how do we take that architecture we have and the capability, how do you transfer that into a truck architecture that is just ultimately capable? And for us at GM, ultimate capability is really one vehicle, and that is Hummer. So what I'd like to do right now is run the launch video that was shown. And then after that, let's get into some deep dive discussion with Rich, Jeff, and team.
The real revolutionaries. The ones that change the game forever. Understanding strength is never enough. Evolving, imagining, seeing the world not as it is, but how it could be. That's how true greatness is realized. That is how you change the world.
Introducing the world's first all-electric super truck. The revolutionary GMC Hummer EV. The quiet revolution begins with a nearly silent propulsion system that will leave everything you thought possible in a cloud of dust. With an immersive open-air design, you can experience the world and the universe like never before. And revolutionary off-road innovation will let you go where no one has gone before and keep on going once you get there. first to own the revolutionary Hummer EV. Reserve your all-electric super truck now at gmc.com.
All right. I hope everyone liked what they saw on the Hummer EV. Like I said, we're extremely excited about the launch of this vehicle. And really, as we got into this, it was, really a once in a lifetime opportunity for a designer and the entire design team. It was literally a blank sheet of paper, or nowadays a blank computer screen. So with that, I'd like to have Jeff kind of take over and give you a little bit of the insight and the details on where we really started with the Hummer EV. Jeff?
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. As Phil mentioned, inside the Hummer EV studio, we had a really creative and high energy culture. And we had a group of individuals and designers who I think really appreciated and recognized how rare this opportunity was to be able to approach an iconic vehicle and then to be able to transform it through electrification was something that we all thought was really special. And when you electrify a vehicle, when you electrify a Hummer, it's more than just reducing emissions, for example. That gives you the opportunity to completely change the packaging, the capability can improve, the proportions of the vehicle can change. So this gave us a clean sheet of paper to pivot Hummer to a much more socially responsible, much more, I think, environmentally conscious position. And with that, we felt a new aesthetic was appropriate. And we wanted to build upon the credibility, the heritage, the capability, the function-driven aesthetic of Hummer, but recast that, if you will, into a new design ethos. So we worked together in the team, in the studio with leadership, and we crafted a pretty succinct position to guide and inspire the teams as we selected theme work in the studios. At a high level, we brought forward words like environmentally conscious, heroic, unstoppable, protective. And we started to search for imagery that would inspire the team from a non-automotive source. The U-Work watch, for example, we were attracted to the weighting of the casing, the technical graphics, the asymmetrical bezel surround, some of the things that made this watch look uniquely contemporary, but also very rugged and tough. We looked at Thomas Fechner's X10 lounge chair, and you can see the simplicity of these intersecting geometric planes. They're devoid of seams, but there's a weighting and a presence to that chair that we wanted to convey into our project. The Apollo moonboat is a great example of extraterrestrial application of technology, but it's executed in such a simple and straightforward way. So we started thinking about a new design philosophy for Hummer, and we thought about a new ethos, and we coined this term off-road aerospace. And we used that throughout the project in the studio to keep us moving forward in a common aesthetic path. And it was this ultra-modern design philosophy that exudes strength and purpose. And we associated some cues with that. And I think Rich and his team will take you through those in detail.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. My name is Rich Shear. I'm the design director for the Hummer EV. As we begin any project in the studio, we really focus in on kind of the design must-haves, the design enablers, however you want to talk about it. And these are visual cues, proportions, things that on any given design are must-haves to make the vehicle kind of communicate visually what you want. The Hummer EV is a vehicle that is a form that will follow function. And so there are things that they're just must-have, like, for example, the tow hooks must be capable, but they also must be incredible design statement that goes with it. They really need to look like they're going to carry the weight of the vehicle to make it an accurate design. So, visual cues. We've got off-road proportions, which means there's tons of ground clearance. There's a wide track, great vehicle stance. We've got steep approach and departure angles. Of course, it wouldn't be a Hummer EV without an upright windshield and upright tumble home. It also has a very low upper, so we kind of call it a low DLO or low turret DLO. And for this, something that was very new on this vehicle, we wanted to do this removable roof and it really wanted to be this very modular glass roof. So again, something that's kind of new school and new tech. And then there's some features around it, some things that we did want to bring from Hummer's past, and these were kind of the details: the hood air extractors, the 6-bar grill. Now, previous Hummer was a 7-bar actual true grill that drew in air. We've actually transformed that into the lighting signature. It's a 6-bar element on the inside and the front area that lights up the Hummer EV. But again, this is a kind of doing, bringing a little bit of the old, but doing it in just a very contemporary way. And all the visual elements need to be crafted with function in mind. Skid plates, tow hooks, the control arms, the A-arms, all the underbody, we've got complete skid plates underneath. So all the, when somebody climbs around the vehicle under and over, everything had to be designed, front to back, top to bottom. Of course, capability, the Hummer EV is a truck. And for us, the minimum capability for a truck bed really needed to be about 5 foot. We're including the GMC Multi-Pro tailgate or that kind of function. Again, full underbody skid plates. And of course, it wouldn't be an off-road vehicle without off-road tires. The base vehicle or the vehicle comes from the factory on 35-inch tires. But of course, we know customers love to go even larger. So it is architected for 37s, which will be a dream for our hardcore off-road fans. It does have full air suspension. The vehicle can be adjusted down on the freeway for a little bit better aero, and of course has 2 inches up to 6 inches in extract mode for even the most extreme off-road capability. So just incredible capability. We've got steel skid plates, underbody protection, as I mentioned. We've got running boards and rock spiders. The running boards are actually cast aluminum, premium lighting. And of course, for accessories, we've got roof racks, really kind of fit the design. And actually, you can put on the roof, put on the bed rails. We've got front top lighting. So again, all that really combines with the messaging of a true off-road capable beast.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd like to hand it over to Phil Zak. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. And thanks, Jeff, for going through the Hummer EV. So you've heard the big picture story on how the vehicle came together. Now what I'd like to do is turn it over to John Mack, who was the exterior design manager. And John really has all the sketches and the details of the Hummer EV really coming to life. So John Mack, if you can take it over, appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. This is John Mack, the design manager on the GMC Hummer EV. I'd like to go through the design phase of the program. With me, I have my design team that worked on this. I'd like to go through their names. First of all, we have Adam Barry, we have Brian Malcheski, we have Scott Wassell, and Elio Quiros. And Brian, if you want to start, you can kind of kick off from the images that you see on the screen.
Sure. So these were some of the first sketches we did on the program. I was personally going for something pure, clean, simple, something muscular, but yet clearly identifiable as a Hummer. A good example of that is, if you look at the light bar in the front, I really wanted to emphasize the width of the truck. So I went with a cross car light bar, but I've split it up into 7 different slots. I thought that was kind of a fresh take on the classic Hummer 7-slot grill.
Then go through a few more from Elio.
Yeah, when I did my proposal, I think I was looking for an iconic solution and no over-styling. Maybe something that can be described as few lines and something with a good visual connection between the elements. And these few lines some few lines that can wrap around the car and the exterior and hold everything together like they are working like a well-defined package. And of course, this extreme off-road capability must come together. I think this was the focus for me in this program.
These are fantastic sketches. It really helped get a lot of excitement going around the early themes as well. And I'll introduce Scott Wassell, and he can talk a little bit about some of his.
Sure. Hi. So, when we were asked to do Hummer, it was a pretty exciting opportunity because, we knew we had to do something bold and capable looking, but it had to telegraph this new technology. So it had to kind of embody all that at the same time. The sketches that I did were on the right here, upper and lower. So there early on, there was talk of, well, we should maybe play up this idea of a vehicle that can go exploring. It has all this technological capability that we want to emphasize. Also, I mean, just the incredible ability with the architecture. It's got such a wide stance and such large wheels and tires that, as we know, can do all kinds of things with manipulating the vehicle around difficult obstacles. And all those things we wanted to just showcase and integrate into the look of the vehicle.
Then Gary Ruiz, this is some of his work.
Hi, my name is Gary Ruiz, so I'm one of the exterior designers as well. So I came onto the team a little bit later. So the guys that actually been working on the architecture and some of those initial themes, I kind of pulled all these ideas together and put together these two key sketches that ended up kind of creating the foundation for what we saw as the Hummer EV SUT.
And also on the underbody, this was something that we wanted to make sure that this was something that was visible to the customer, even though it's not something you're going to see all the time. But this is a kind of an area of pride that really shows the bottom of this vehicle is protected for when you're off-roading, rock sliding, whatever. But this is basically a shell that really protects the battery. And we wanted it to look good. So these patterns and everything were worked on with engineering to make sure this was all robust, but also looked like it had a design aesthetic to it as well. As we get into the open air aspect of it, this was a big engineering feat to pull off, to have these panels removable, have them be very simple to get off, but also have it look like it was a techie part as well. And in the off position, you have this great open air experience. And then outside of that, when you take these off, we also want those to be stowable on the vehicle itself, as you can see in the lower left image. And Elio worked tirelessly on getting this package to work. It was at some points we almost didn't get them to fit, but through a lot of clever sectioning and detail, we've made these panels all fit in the front end. And on top of that, we also put kind of an Easter egg graphic on the front that kind of shows this Hummer graphic across the front of these boxes, and also the orientation of how they all store inside for the customer to find out, so it's easy to understand. And then kind of pigtailing off of that is, you know, the Easter egg that you see in the front headlamps with that sign of subliminal H. We kind of worked that into different areas of the vehicle. I mentioned earlier on the target boxes. You can see that prevalent there. And then also in other areas in the back on the tailgate, we also have this, in the Chimsel, we have an H pattern that's kind of there. And then the tail lamps, as well, as Adam was saying, it's, again, that's another one that's not necessarily hidden, but in full view. Gary worked out some Easter eggs underneath on the rocker with the thumbs up, thumbs down, and that one's been kind of recognized already in the media, so it's a pretty unique one. And that's pretty much it for the design aspect. And thank you to my Hummer team that worked on this. I think it's been a great journey, and these guys really put a lot of effort and their own personal time into this program. And I'm proud as heck of this vehicle. I think it came out outstanding. So it's a testament to these guys and their talent and the dedication to pulling this thing off. So, and the time that we did it in too. And I'd like to turn it over to the interior team. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Fusco. I'm the interior design manager on the GMC Hummer EV, and I'm very happy to have our whole team here, and we're going to talk about the Hummer EV and how we develop that interior. We have Gabriel Clemente, who's the senior creative designer, lead designer on the interior. We've got creative designer Guy Samuels, and we have Scott Martin, who's creative director of the user experience. And finally, we have Brett Gulloff, who's the interior color and trim manager. And what I would like to do is bring each of one of the team members in and talk about all the great work that they've done on specific areas of the interior. So the first thing I would like to talk about just quickly is what inspired us. We have a lot of images here that everybody rallied around in terms of architecture that inspired us, consumer products basic industrial design process, also some technology, and also products that were very linear, very organized, had a beautiful chamfers, interfaces, and really spoke to jewelry execution and fit and finish as well. So having said all that, I'd like to bring in Gabriel Clemente, who is the senior designer on the interior. And Gabriel, I'd like you to talk a little bit about the theming of the IP.
Well, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you, talking about the Hummer interior. Our team is very excited. I believe, and I strongly believe, everybody's very excited to share this product. The inspiration for the Hummer interior came a lot from architectural elements, as well as some space inspiration, like the NASA inspiration for sure, as you can see. We also are very proud of the strong and bold color contrast we're bringing in, but definitely it's a very organized interior. The instrument panel section, the top slab is very balanced to the vehicle and on its purpose. You see that the center screen, exactly like you see on this image, you see the section and the IP kind of receives the shroud, the structural element. So it's very structural, it's very rational, as a Hummer should be. And, but on the same time, we paid a lot of attention to the details on the execution. As you can see on the screen's execution, the way we've applied materials to those elements. It's a very bold interior, elegant, architectural, contemporary. But it really translates what the EV trucks should look like on their era. As the final spicing over our interior, the final touch is the Sea of Tranquility map inspiration. So we've applied that in several different areas, and the doors are a good example, which brings a lot of excitement to this interior too.
Great job, Gabriel. So moving on to another area of the interior is the removable roof panels. And this was a really challenging area, and also a feature that Hummers never had before. And all 4 panels are removed. And the creative designer, Guy Samuels, he worked really hard, and Guy has a lot to tell you about how he developed this and how he executed.
Hi, guys. First and foremost, this was a very challenging part of the vehicle, but the main goal was to try and hang on to the utility aspect, but more or less with modern lines. So going into the image on the upper left in regards to the removable tops, we had to make sure that we integrated all of our panels leading all the way up into the T-top configurations. There is a seamless integrations with our surface to the actual roof, even when the roof is off. So we worked very hard with our engineering group to basically come up with packaging and just interfaces all around to make sure that everything coincided with each other, from front to rear, from the assist handle all the way to the rearmost pillars. Up top, we're just basically showing you how we're actually organizing them, and they stack in a numerical order. So to cut down any form of confusion when you're basically taking them off and stacking them inside the vehicle and vice versa. This is a very exciting project. We wanted to see this thing get off the ground, especially with fully removable tops. I mean, it presents us with an opportunity of allowing the occupants, regardless of the driver or the passenger, to experience the outside or bringing the outside in, regardless of whether or not the top is on or off. I kind of liken it to like the ISS observation dome. If we want to play up the whole space, NASA kind of experience.
So here's a shot here of guys talking about this full open air experience when you have all the panels, roof panels taken off, and also the center eye bar comes off as well. So you have a clear view of the beautiful stars and space at night when you're driving around. It's a really, really cool experience. It's very unique for Hummer. Very, very unique. I love this image here. It really gives you a sense of openness and really shows the fashion statement of the interior with the high contrast of this, the different colors of the interior and different finishes. So what I would like to talk about next is the user interface and the GUI that Scott Martin's team did. They did a fantastic job on bringing that 12-inch, 12.2, 12.3 cluster to life and a 13.4-inch ICS to life. So Scott, you could take it away and talk about all the work that you've done on the user interface and graphics.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think what customers are going to see the first time they get into this vehicle, they're going to be struck by these floating displays that are illuminating as Chris mentioned, that 12.3-inch instrument cluster, General Motors' first 13.4-inch touchscreen, and then a third display that's primarily for climate controls. And I think the next thing they're going to see is this really compelling aesthetic of the graphics themselves. The overall aesthetic is unlike anything you've ever seen in a vehicle interface before. Heavily inspired by our collaboration, by our user experience team, the interior team that you're speaking with here on the phone and listening, as well as Brett and the color and trim team, really heavy collaboration, all derived from that overall lunar DNA theme. I think it's made a very, very profound end result. The graphics are very technical, look like they're floating on top of a lunar terrain. And it's science fiction, but it's still sophisticated and grounded, which I think is really important for this vehicle because of how capable it is, yet how premium it is. The top left, you can see that the instrument cluster, we have multiple instrument cluster layouts, as well as zones of information that can be tailored by the customer. So that they want to be as robust as they want or as simple as they desire. That's really important. The touchscreen on the upper right, it's large enough for us to do 2 applications at the same time, which is really important. We know that a majority of our customers are doing audio and navigation at the same time. So with a framework such as this, you don't have to choose. So being able to have quick access to things like your virtual off-road switches, or even having CarPlay and satellite radio at the same time. Our visuals are really taken to the next level thanks to our partnership with Epic Games using the Unreal Engine first on the GMC Hummer EV. Right. It's really enabling us to help take these vehicle visuals to the next level. Things that you're seeing like drive modes when you rotate that knob and the vehicle kind of going on those different environments on the moon, Mars, Venus, really showing the capability. Our full featured off-road application, I think enthusiasts are going to love, really combining the vehicle data itself with the actual analytics and data. So as soon as they leave those paved surfaces, they're really going to have everything at their fingertips that they need.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. Tremendous job. Love watching the graphics. I never get tired of looking at them. Really, really cool. It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
I kind of jumped ahead here, but I want to bring Brett Gullif into the conversation from a color and trim perspective. And Brett's team did some awesome work on terms of materials, colors, and finishes that are really unique to this interior. Brett's team made it happen, and you're looking at an image right now that really shows all the great work that they did. And Brett, if you can jump in here and talk about the great work that your team did.
Yeah, thank you so much for that beautiful intro. What was exciting about this project is that, you know, we've all discussed it. It was such an aggressive timeline, but what that did was actually make our job a little bit simpler, because when it got so aggressive, we knew that we could only offer so much with it. So what we had to do was take what was available to us, but elevate it to a new level, right? Like really bring in a very fresh approach to what we knew could kind of exist, but how could you take it a little bit further with our manufacturing processes? Key areas that we did that with was basically going out of our way to do as minimal amount of graining as possible. And what we wanted to do was bring in a very like high textural piece. You know, everybody on here has been talking about the architectural and the space elements that we're inspired by. And I think what we took that as was, how do you bring that tacticality that all those have? And we wanted to get rid of like this animal approach and really bring in these utilitarian details. So everything that you see that is coming up as a white light gray, it's sky cool gray, that was really approached with this beautiful pyramid type grid to it. And it really just highlighted the element and the precision of the parts that went into it. And what I actually like the most about what my team was able to do is celebrate the theme and not take away from the theme. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at this, it's like, it's still basically an 85% black interior. When you go through it, there's a lot of black, there's a lot of darkness in it. But as the eye looks, you don't read it that way. Because of the way we took up their breakups and the graphics of it, we were able to play up this real high contrasting piece that gives you a completely different emotional breakup of what the vehicle is. Right. Tech bronze was an important color for us. We developed it because it was something that I wouldn't even call it a fashion. It was something that was genuine. It's real. It's coming off and inspired by a manufacturing process and bringing a color into it that's iconic and is going to last a long time. And most importantly, it combined the interior and exteriors. We're
Yeah,
so excited for it.
I've always liked, and when I remember when we were working together, you were talking about different levels of gloss levels, from a matte to a satin to a super high gloss. And you can see that on the 6 o'clock spoke of the wheel with the jewelry of the badge on there. You had very strategic areas that were high gloss. Some were matte and some were satin. And like the shifter and the ride mode knob have different finishes on it that give it different layers of depth, which I really, really like throughout the interior. When you get in it right away, you don't notice that, but as you drive it, you kind of peel back the layers and you see all the different work that all of us did in all different areas. And it takes some time to kind of find them and soak them in, but they're definitely all there, and they really speak to a complete, comprehensive, beautiful, powerful, contemporary, modern interior. You guys should be very proud of what you guys have done. It's really, really cool, and I can't wait till it gets out on the road and really hear what the customers have to say when they experience it. So I'd like to turn it over to Rich Shear, if I could, to talk about the next segment of this vehicle.
Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate all the information and all the design work that you shared with the interior. Again, I'm Rich Shear. I'm the design director for the Hummer EV. With me, I've got 4 of our design folks that were really key on all the design details throughout the vehicle. So first up here is Humberto Ortiz, and he is going to go through the accessories and all that team played, not only with some of the add-on elements, but really that team was very integrated into the studio team and did a ton of work. So I'll kick it off. Thanks, Humberto.
Thank you, Rich. We will offer an amazing collection of accessories for this vehicle. Fully integrated. What you can see in the screen here is the full accessorized vehicle. We will give the opportunity to the customers really to customize their own vehicle, right? So you can see some of the bits and pieces here, the lighting, some finishes on the wheels, on the tow hooks, some amazing cross rails. So we have really an amazing collection of accessories for this vehicle. We create these amazing lights. They are they're exclusive for Hummer. There is no other vehicle in the market with these lights. And just to give you a sample, the light bar that we will have in the top of the windshield is a dual curve light bar. The market is completely new, right? And it follows the profile of the windshield on the top view and in front view. So you will always read the shape of the car that fits perfectly with the alignment of the light bar. The other amazing thing is that we will have digital switches on the screen. So we will not have any bottom like any other car. This is integrated, fully integrated with the technology on the screen. Starting on the top, we have this amazing cross rail. We try to do that. I mean, it has the DNA of the brand, right? It has the HEV logo. And it's completely unique. It's a bold design, very structural. It looks incredible. We will have these rails on the roof and on the bed. It's the same extension. Then we will have the opportunity to have some different colors on the tow hooks and also in some of the emblems. And well, that's pretty much all the content. We have more accessories coming, but I'm going to pass to Bianca to explain all the badging. Thank you.
Thanks, Humberto. So regarding the Hummer EV badging, we really wanted to envision a way that we could portray a bold, prominent statement, but also add on to the visual language in which this new vehicle represents. So this concept of next level technology and design, and just really embodying those elements into a newly designed logo. So we decided to pull themes from the visuals, such as the highly crafted angled surfaces and the sleek nature of the proportions of the vehicle, which also inspired the proportions of the letter forms and some of the interesting features you see that are embedded in the different characters of the fonts. So there was a tremendous amount of work behind portraying the right statement. And I truly believe that this logo does embody everything that the Hummer EV stands for. So, and that was our ultimate goal. As you see here, there was quite a bit of work in progress to kind of define what this statement actually is regarding the Hummer EV logo. So plenty of work went behind exploring every single option that we could provide, but we're really happy with our outcome. And next up, we have Samir.
Oh, thank you, Bianca. Hi. So as you can see on the screen, these were the leading ideas, and you can see that the lights had already started taking shape, and these were the ideas that started resonating with the team. And for inspiration, we like this simple ideas. There was something pure about it, yet exciting. And as you can see, the main differentiator here is that you don't see any LEDs, you don't see the light source. And the goal that we had was to kind of use this as inspiration to create a truly reflector-free design and to use all of the cool things about how these lenses appear very crystal, very minimalistic, and that was the goal. The first step, what we had to do is we had to start decoding and figuring out how we can use these ideas, combine them with the inspiration that we had, and start building the lamp. This slide shows the n number of testing that we had to do. We had to do all our testing with physical properties, and these physical properties were all machined. They're all high precision optics. There's only an extent you can go with digital simulations, but the real test happens with physical properties, and that is where you validate what you're going to get in real life in production. More samples, more testing, and all the smiley faces that you see there are the tests that we were happy with and that came out with winning results. And the frown faces show the areas where we fail, and the goal was to fail fast and to learn fast and come up with innovative ideas to make this thing work. It had to look right, and at the same time, it had to meet all the legal requirements. These are photographs showing all the initial testing we had to do. These lenses were machined, high precision milled. Those optics are real, and these were used to evaluate both the lit and the unlit appearance. And this slide shows actually how we started from a concept phase, and you can see how the signature was super sleek. And as we started evolving the design, as we started learning more about the optics, what you see on the right side is the end result. We have a much cleaner and bolder looking signature bar. And with that, I'll hand it over to Adam.
Thanks, Samir. Excellent job. We went through with all the exterior designers with a lot of different iterations. We finally came up with the one you see here on the left-hand side of your screen, which is this super clean brand bar that broke the iconic Hummer EV grille up into its traditional 7 segments of the negative spaces with the lettering inside, and then these 2 new H's that float on either side. The other thing with the lighting that we really needed to accomplish is that it really wanted to be super 3D. And just, as you can see on the images on the right, there's a lot of section and layering of transparent materials to look through. And these different layers also have multiple functions behind them, where you're seeing that you have the look of almost like a grill bar, but since there's no airflow through there because it's an electric vehicle, be able to take that motif and turn it into a turn indicator and a charge indicator. When we were starting out, I needed to look around and kind of see what would be inspirational. And looking at science fiction movies, the latest video games, military equipment, they had so much neat stuff that I was just seeing on the screen all the time on their video games. And I noticed this edge lit look and this way of sort of using light to sort of define shapes and forms and volumes. This edge lit look, we went after it, and we figured out a way to bring this aesthetic onto the Hummer vehicle in such a way that it really got the theme and executed all the way to production. It was a long journey, but we're really happy with how we were able to go from concept to reality here. Seen here with all the lights fully blazing, it's like we really were able to capture that look that you've seen and the inspiration that we started with really come to life, where you can kind of see the silhouette and the basic shape of the vehicle in a very technical way. And the image on the right, where you see the crystal just lit with all the fine details that really come to life when the vehicle is powered on. With that, back to you, Rich.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much, everyone. This has been fantastic to share all of the great backstory behind the design of the Hummer EV. What's up next is Phil, John, Chris, and myself are going to share some Q&A that's coming up. So again, thank you, everybody. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, guys. I think we're so lucky to have so many expert designers talk through such an exciting new vehicle. And the Hummer EV, it is really exciting, and it looks extremely formidable. I think John and the entire exterior design team have done a superb job making it look so mean. I was having a conversation with my editor, James, earlier this morning. We were talking about the Hummer EV and the wonderful looks that it has. Perhaps I can get the design team now on with me. We can get everyone here. So we've got John, Rich, and Chris. Thank you guys for joining me.
You're welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So yeah, I was having a chat with my editor James this morning, and we were talking about the Hummer EV and how exciting it is, and that exterior design is wonderful, and it looks so mean. But one of the things that we were sort of trying to wrap our heads around is, even though it looks so mean, perhaps it doesn't sound so mean. You know, we kind of imagined this brilliantly striking vehicle coming down the road, but instead of hearing that giant combustion engine, we just see it sort of floating quietly down the road. Does this kind of pose a challenge, I wonder? Like how do you get around that sort of thing? Perhaps I can direct that at you, Rich, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. I think the whole project, I think the team, we talked about that. And I think just the fact that it also is an open air vehicle, right? So you can remove these panels. It has this incredible aggressive look. It is refined, but it is certainly wide and it's powerful. It'll certainly make a statement when it's going down the road. But then again, to have the juxtaposition of having no sound or sound that we're used to for a vehicle like this, we always kind of imagined kind of that cool drive, in Arizona down a beautiful freeway, great views all around, and really not hearing any sound except the wind going by and obviously the tire noise on the road. It was pretty incredible to actually be able to do that with the show vehicle out in Colorado at the launch, to kind of drive it down the road a little bit and experience that for the first time. And it's like nothing that I've ever experienced before. And I think it's going to be a real thrill to customers when they get inside. It's a total different mindset. In a way, it was kind of, the interior, as aggressive as the exterior is, the interior is refined. It's bold. It's almost more like a luxury statement. And I think the kind of the quietness or the lack of engine sound, almost there's something kind of peaceful about it. But it's just interesting to be in a vehicle like that is tough and brutish, but then to hear a sound that's quite unlike anything. I think that's, the more we get a chance to drive it before customers, I think that's going to be an experience for all of us to engage and kind of get just a new way to experience these kind of vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I wonder if you would want to maybe add anything to that from the interior side. Obviously, without that noise of the combustion engine, I imagine you guys had to do a lot in terms of sound deadening techniques inside.
Yes, we did. We we obviously had to make the interior really quiet and premium, and have some really great execution details throughout the interior. You know, for us, premium execution was definitely one of the key attributes on the interior. And we did that through a lot of finishes and details. And some of the materials, you know, like I said in the video previously, when you get in the interior, it takes you a minute to really see and understand and feel all the different layers and execution attributes that we did throughout the interior. You kind of keep rediscovering things as you kind of experience the interior and live in it and use it throughout the day. As Rich said, the more we got in the interior and experienced things, the more we would talk about how we would add a little more detail, a little more refinement, a little more surfacing execution to bring up that premium execution throughout the interior. So it was a very exciting project, and I'm really proud of what we did on the interior. It's very unique for Hummer, kind of bringing that brand and resurrecting it and bringing it forward in a completely new, different way. It's very very unique, and it's got a very bold, kind of unforgettable first impression when you see it, and that's really what we tried to go after when we executed that interior.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I wonder if I could just stick with you a second. Sure. The interior finish, like you said, it looks really fresh.
Thank you.
That high contrast of the black and the white surfaces, and then you've got like the copper chrome as well, splashed here and there.
Right.
And then you have that kind of like, it's almost like a boxy shape. Everything seems quite rectangular and sharp.
Yes. Exactly. You know, we want to do something bold and simple and contemporary and modern. Rich always talked about having this fashion statement, and our color and trim team really did a great job on choosing the right color palette and also the details within the materials. You really need to get into the vehicle and really see all these super subtle details in the materials, in the finishes, and the different gloss levels. You know, it really brings it all together. And we really approached this interior to have a product design feel. There was no styling on the interior, no fussy bits, very simple. Rich and Phil really pushed us to do this very simple product, modern interior. And, you know, the IP really talks to that. I've got these simple, bold section going across car, anchored by these 1-in-4 vents that are very strong and capable and durable looking. And that was really what the essence of that interior, to try to really make it simple and bold, and how all the simple geometric shapes speak to each other in a different way, other than just kind of organically integrating them throughout the interior.
Fantastic. Yeah. John, perhaps I can come to you now. We'll talk a little bit about the exterior. Again, like I said, I think it looks really formidable. I wonder if you could talk us through some of the processes and perhaps some of the ideas as they started to form from initial sketches through into your prototyping and your CAD models. Did you really go after this kind of really aggressive exterior vision from the start?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'd like to elaborate on some of that. Initially, we're looking at what was going to be a Hummer for when it stopped 10 years ago. We wanted to make it look like at least continued through that 10-year stretch, and we wanted to come up with something that looked fresh and contemporary now, but with an electrification side of it that was something unique. But initially, the images that we were looking at with our design team were very aggressive. We had, I think, a really good shotgun approach to many different avenues at which we could go down. We had inputs from California, Australia, and our Warren team as well. And each one kind of went in their own different direction. I think we had some super aggressive ones with more of a fastback approach that Hummer also did
early on. We started playing with different uppers that looked more vertical, and we didn't want to have this push me, pull me look. We also had issues with the vehicle, maybe the bed. We want to have a 5-foot bed, but we didn't want the bed to become this really long rear, very just simple truck look. So we tried to use graphics to shorten it visually. We also had to play with the fact that the battery was this very large element to the vehicle, and we want to really kind of lighten it. But using graphics, lower and upper, to really kind of make this vehicle appear much lighter, leaner, and more aggressive. But I think a lot of the themes that we did, we started narrowing it down. We got a lot of patio reviews where we started seeing the vehicle in its real form, how it was going to look over the package, and that we started manipulating it as time went on. And then each session we would scan it and get it closer to the numbers, and then still keep manipulating the theme as we went along to really try and create this very iconic new way to approach the Hummer. And I think with the design that we ended up with, I think it hits all the right buttons. It has that freshness, the newness. The lighting is at the front without having a grill, but it was also part of the lighting signature. And then the use of the Easter eggs throughout the exterior also had the element of surprise. But the form vocabulary as well. The fender forms very kind of architectural, but they also look very like they're just hit out of a single ingot of metal. The rear especially just looks like this very strong stamped form. But I think for us, the whole vehicle comes alive with the turret upper, the stance, the presence of it, the height. It's a very dramatic vehicle when you see it in person, and how it all comes together.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see it in person. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully sometime soon. Phil, I'll just come to you. We've got a couple more minutes left. I wondered, we've had a few questions in. I was wondering this myself. We touched on it when we were speaking about the lack of noise from a combustion engine, but I wondered if there was any other challenges that the team faced when incorporating the electric architecture. And perhaps you can maybe talk about your relationship with your colleagues in engineering as well.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Probably one of the biggest challenges, but also benefit, and I mentioned early on in the presentation that we had a clean sheet of paper to start with. So we really worked with engineering from day one on laying out what the vehicle would be and what the architecture would be. The batteries were established. We knew what those were. But from a suspension standpoint, a departure angle, front, rear, we were able to develop that with engineering. And then as we started to design it, the capability came along with the vehicle. There is something unique on the electric vehicle, obviously with the battery, the whole underbelly, which is something that needed to be protected. As John had mentioned going through, there was a lot of work that was done on the underside, in the wheel arches. Every piece of this vehicle had a designer touch it and work it so that it fit the overall essence of the product of Hummer. So we were really happy with that. And again, it was the roofs, it was the architectural, the battery, the proportions, everything was done hand in hand with our engineering team to really get it where it is right now. Even on the interior, the rubber vinyl flooring that we have, that the original intent was carpet as you pull these things together, and as we're building the vehicle, it's like, well, that'll never fly. So we worked with the team to change that 180 degrees and really have something unique and something the customer will appreciate.
Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and it's been wonderful getting this deep dive into the Hummer EV. I certainly can't wait to get my hands on one and get inside one and have a drive around. So yeah, thank you so much for giving us that insight. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Just a note from me, our next session is a panel discussion with Magna Exteriors. That's happening in our main room. coming up in 10 minutes, and that's with Larry Erickson, the Global Director of Exterior Designs at Magna. And we have some other speakers there involved with that session. So do head on over to that, and we hope you keep enjoying the event, Car Design Dialogues, today. Thank you so much.